Day and welcome to the Guiding Principles Bible Study. Let me ask you something. Are you familiar with the term peace and security? Are you hearing those words a lot in this world that we live in today? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about. What does the Bible say about people talking about peace and security and safety? Peace, security, safety. Those are the three words you will generally hear as it relates to this study. So, we're coming today out of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and we are going to be reading a lot. So, I hope you're ready. Let's go. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet the hope of salvation. For God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Rejoice evermore. Pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Quench not the spirit, despise not prophesying, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, abstain from all appearance of evil, and the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, God, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. So what is all of this saying? How about we go through this? You ready? When Jesus returns, he comes as a thief in the night. And here's what that means to you. It means it's going to be sudden. You're not going to be aware of what's happening. There's not going to be some long drawn out thing called a rapture that's suddenly going to take you up. How do we know that? Well, because we have no verification of that anywhere. If there was going to be a rapture, you want to know the number one place it would have been? When the Israelites were trying to get away from Pharaoh and Pharaoh's army was coming. God didn't swoop them up and carry them across the ocean. He spread open the ocean, dried the ground, and let them walk across. And that is how that happened. So, let's first begin by talking about this concept of thief in the night. It's simply, very simply put, you will not have forewarning. Any more than you have forewarning of these tornadoes that have been hitting, the fires that have been happening in the west coast, floods that have been happening. You don't get a lot of forewarning of what's going to happen, and that's going to be how Jesus comes back. Why is this important? Because what this tells us is that while we think he is not at all interested, he's paying attention. And there reaches a point where the threshold is so bad that he says, absolutely no more. And the people who are causing all of this pain will be wiped away. And let me explain to you why. We always like to call God a God of love, and that is one side of God. But just as we as people are multifaceted, our Creator is multifaceted. There's the God who loves you, and He's your Father, but you are also His child. Because no father loves, let me rephrase that, because I see where that's getting ready to go. The love of the Father for His children is very different than the love of a father toward somebody else's son who's not a part of his life. Fathers will die for their children. They will not necessarily give their lives for somebody else's kids. It just is how it is. So what am I saying, and how does that relate to God? Let me bring you back to that. God loves His children. He protects His children. When people hurt His children, He is obligated to repay those people who hurt them. And the reason He's obligated to do so is because He has claimed them as their child. One of the things that the Bible tells us is don't despise when you're being chastened, when you're being punished or redirected, because what that tells you is that He loves you. So that tells us that God not only is a God of love, but He's a God of correction. He's going to make sure that your path becomes straight. And if He's going to keep you on a straight path, then He has to make sure that you know the difference between right and wrong. And that's something that's happening in our society now with parents, is that they don't want to tell their children right from wrong. They want to give them the opportunity to make decisions. Well, here's the deal. When you have children, you're setting a foundation. All of us are children. We needed a foundation. And that's what God does, is He sets the foundation. Now, we're going to get into some more stuff, and I just love this. So are you guys ready? For when they shall say, peace and security, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So, all this talk you keep hearing, well, we just want to keep you safe. We're going to put you in this system to keep you safe. We're going to give you biometrics because that's going to keep you safe. Use your face or your fingerprint because that keeps you safe. No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, what many of us don't understand is what's called the mark of the beast. And while I won't go deeply into that, as they put you on biometrics, as your face is used to pay for things, as your fingerprint is used to pay for things, it's attached to an 18-digit number, 666. That's how it's broken down. And people struggle with that because what they're not understanding is they're not looking at the background. That's why we speak so heavily against dealing and living in your emotions. Peace and safety coming out of the mouths of men is a danger. And every time they say it, the question that has to go through your mind is, what aren't they telling me? Because it's never about your safety. It's about how do we control money. And if you understand that the heart of man is desperately wicked, and that doesn't, at the same time that the heart of man is desperately wicked, that doesn't make them awful, horrible people who can never change. But if you understand that that's where people come from, you can meet them there and bring them back to where it is that they need to come. Peace and safety is a dangerous term that you really don't want to sit back and listen to man talk about. But ye brethren are not in the darkness. That means that you're not left unaware. You know what's coming because in this book, you've been given the answer. So then here's what happens. The question becomes, do you trust God? And the answer for most people, most of us, most of you, is no. Because at the end of the day, we look at this book and we say it's not working. But we're not understanding that what's not working is our understanding of this book. So it's vitally important that we study to show ourselves approved. Because the more we study, the more we allow the word to work inside of us, the greater the opportunity that we have to grow. The more we begin to understand, the less fear has a place. 365 times this book tells us, fear not. Do not be afraid. It's what it keeps telling us. And this is something that we need to look at. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night or darkness. So, what does that mean? You're sons of the Most High. He is always with you. And so here's what happens. This is perfect. Let me show you guys something. This is us, right? And this is God, because this cup is full. This is empty. And so here's what he does. He takes what he has and he pours it into us. See that? He pours it in. And you know what we do? We say, I don't want what you just gave me. I'm good. Now we have put ourselves in a position where we feel like our Father is our enemy. He's not your enemy. So here's how I want you to see this. When it comes time for the pain, because the pain is there, it comes. You want to talk about coming like a thief in the night? It comes and it sideswipes you. What's actually happening is that God is right here and you're right here. And he has wrapped his arms all the way around you. So while you're going through this pain, you are one accord, one unit with your Father. He has his arms wrapped around you the entire time. When you understand that you are not going through this by yourself and that he is for you, what begins to happen is that you begin to realize that the pain is going to come. And while some arrows will get through, most of what is coming for you isn't going to reach you. That's the power of the Father that we have. That's what it looks like when we're children of the light. That's what makes this so important. You've got to understand that he is always for you. He is always on your side. And we lose sight of that. And then what happens? We think he doesn't love us. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that are drunken, be drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. So let's talk about that, because he's not saying don't ever go to sleep. That's not what he's saying. What he is saying is don't spend all your time losing hope. So let me explain what happens, because most of us know this, right? When we begin to lose hope, we get tired. We get worn out. We just want to go watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, take your pick. We just don't want to be any place. We just want to be in our bed and we want to just give up and the world is over. And that's what it feels like. We're just done. And he's saying, no, 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 no. You are a child of the light. I have you. I am with you in this. Get up and let's do the work. Whatever your work is, whatever your assignment is, let's get busy doing it. And I want to step into kind of a story here because I want you to really understand what this looks like. Because when the pain gets hard, it comes hard and fast. And let's be honest, what happens? I can't breathe. All of a sudden, there's just this heaviness on my chest. And it's like I'm gasping for air. And the pressure feels like it's on my head and my shoulders. And it's just weighing you down. And that's what it feels like. That's why the shackles of sin are literal slave shackles. They are not handcuffs. They are weights. They're 300-pound chains, and they hold you like this. And the reason that they do is because as long as they can keep you there, as long as the pain can make you think that that's where you need to be, it has you. You're caught. You're trapped. So how do you get out of it? Do you just hit your knees and pray? Absolutely not. No, that doesn't work. Let me tell you why it doesn't work. It's not that it's not effective. It's that you're already praying all the time. Because God is, when you're his child, he's always listening. So all it is a conversation like we're having. God, I'm in trouble. There's a pain here. I don't know. How do I fix this situation? What is it I need to do? Help me to open up my creativity so that I can see how to find the solution. That's a prayer. That's a prayer that God hears, because the desperation, the pain, the anguish that you're in, and before you know it, you've got creative ideas coming, things are happening, you're finding different ways, but then what happens? Sometimes those ways don't seem to work, and you're like, but I thought I heard you, but I guess I didn't. Listen, you gotta stop the noise in your head. That's the number one key. Stop the noise. Sometimes the way to do that is to sit down and to journal and to say, God, this hurts so bad. And in writing, to put what you have to say down. Because when you're writing it, you're not speaking it. It's not the same thing. Yes, the demon can read, but in writing, you can say your pain, and it doesn't create this world of pain. You don't trust me about that? I expect you not to. Read Psalms. It's David, all his prayers about, are you going to come and save me? What are you doing? Like, they're coming for me. They're swarming me. My enemies are taking joy in my failure, in my falling. Where are you? And he put it all in writing. And now you can see his pain. You can hold on to his pain and understand that what you're going through and what he went through are the same. Always remember there's nothing new under the sun. What you're going through, many others have already gone through, and they have overcome. You will be able to breathe. But first, you have to walk through the challenge. Now, he also tells you to be sober and not to be drunken. And let me explain why. I find it so amusing in this day and age, because if we start talking about I don't drink, or we don't drink, or you don't drink, or all of a sudden, oh, is it because you're an alcoholic? No, I'm not an alcoholic. I just don't choose to drink. I drink coffee, I drink water, but because I don't choose to drink alcohol, now all of a sudden there's a problem. That is a mindset issue. If I can keep you drunk, I can keep you medicated. And as long as you're medicated, you're going to attack people I don't want attacked. You're going to harm people that don't need to be harmed. You're going to harm yourself, and in the process, hurt your family. Like, there's far-reaching effects to having drunken night. Things where you say things that ultimately you're going to end up apologizing for. He tells you to stay sober because when you are sober, you can think quickly, you think on your feet, you withhold things that you wouldn't ordinarily say, or you find ways to work them out. You also can't hear him as clearly when you're inebriated. Doesn't mean he doesn't get through to some people, he does. But he wants you to always be in a position where you can hear so that you know how to pivot, how to move, and what direction it is he's taking you into. For God hath not appointed us to wrath. That means we're not, as his children, we are not set to receive his wrath. We are set to be his blessing, to be people who get salvation because of the love that he has for us and the love that we have shown him in return by doing what he asked for us. Jesus, who died for us, whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Does that mean we should die right now? No. What that means is this. He paid the price so that we could be in harmony with him. And everything we just talked about how he's holding us, about how the Father has us, that is us living together with Jesus. That's how we do it, by listening, by understanding he's for us, not against us. These are the things that we've got to look at. Comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. edify one another. That means build each other up. It means make sure that you and other believers have the ability to continue to stand even through the hard times. Now, I want to talk to you about that because there's another thing that we have to deal with in this world. There are such things as narcissists and people who aren't willing to change. And you've got to be able to understand when you have encountered one of those people. Because it doesn't matter how many years you spend saying to them, you are enough. Look at this, look at that, look at the other. When time comes for them to go through whatever it is they go through, they're coming for you. And they're going to say things to you, and they're going to do harmful things to you, and they are not going to care. And they'll say, oh, I do care, I do, but no, they don't. Because when I care, you want to know what the one thing is I don't do? I don't keep repeating the behavior. And that's the thing that I want you to be mindful of. Esteem each other very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves. Keep each other motivated. Times are going to get hard. They're going to be really, really hard. And if we are not sitting back, working with each other and reminding each other that we can make it through, then guess what? We begin to lose hope. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Don't render evil for evil. When someone does something to you, quick to do it back to them. You're not teaching them any lesson except what the world teaches them. Save that. Use it so that you can be a light. Trust me, the word says in Isaiah 55, 9 through 11, my ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. He also says, my word will not return unto me void. Your word, his word, is both action and speak. When you don't return evil for evil, guess what? The person who is sending the evil your way, you're reaping hot coals on their head. And I said earlier, trust me, don't just trust me, read what I'm telling you. It's right there in the word, and then watch it work. Does it always work in a day or two? No, let's be honest, God is long suffering. And so sometimes we have to suffer and we just got to walk through it. It's quite challenging, but that's what happens. See that none render evil for evil, we just talked about. Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, and always give thanks. That is the key right here. Always be thankful. Now, are you actually thankful for the pain? No, that's not what you're thankful for. But in the midst of that pain, things are happening, okay? So let's talk about what kind of things. Number one, you got up in the morning. Number two, you have a child or a dog or a phone call first thing in the morning. Somebody called to tell you that they were just checking on you. Or the puppy comes over to say, good morning, let's go eat. Or the fact that you are breathing. All of these things are things to be grateful for. The fact that you open your eyes and you can see, and not just see, but you can focus. Even if you need glasses, you're still able to focus. You have ears that can hear and tune sound. You have some form of a shelter over you. These are all things to be grateful for, because it really can always be worse. You have income, or you have some sort of money that is keeping you going. There are a lot of people who woke up this morning with not a dime to their name. But you have something. There's so many things to be grateful for. Your hands, your legs, whatever you have, take an inventory. Sometimes it starts slow. It starts small. But then you can build it up over time, and the things you become grateful for become bigger and better. I remember one time I was young, I was in college, right? And I had 2 pairs of jeans, and 2 sweatshirts. That was everything I had in my closet, right? And the craziest thing happened. Suddenly, money started coming out of nowhere. Before I knew it, I had a couch and a love seat. I had coffee tables. And we're not talking like junky stuff. We're talking the nicer stuff, right? My closet, before I knew it, was filled with clothes. And I'm like, this is a long way from 2 sweatshirts and 2 pairs of jeans. Everything with the Father is multiplication. But it's because we're thankful for the things that we have, even when it doesn't feel like we have a whole bunch. You're going to have ups and downs in life. Everybody does. Even the super wealthy have ups and downs. It's okay. Be thankful for what you have during the times when you're down, and you will be amazed at what you keep coming back with. You will always continue to grow with the Father. That's how he makes your road straight. So, quench not the Spirit. When the Spirit is talking to you, listen to what he's saying. He's not here to torture you. He's here to educate you. Listen. Prove all things. That means don't take anything at face value. Go make sure that it is the truth before you begin to accept it. Listen to it. Chew on it. Make sure that way that it's being explained is in line with the word, so that you know you are walking down a path that is truly designed by God. There are some people who have the beauty and the benefit of hearing from God in unique and fascinating ways. And some of us haven't received that ability yet. And if you understand that just because you haven't received it now doesn't mean that the day isn't coming, then what you begin to understand is that as you begin to search more, the more he sees you searching, eventually you and he will develop your own communication style. And when that comes, it'll freak you out in the beginning, but you'll acclimate to it. Just trust on that one. I don't know how to prove that to you. You just got to walk through that one and see it, because it's really interesting when it happens. Abstain from all appearance of evil. Don't let it look like you're doing something wrong. Make sure that you are keeping up and up. Stand firm wherever you are, no matter what you're going through. So if you're open, people can always find you. They know where you are. They know you're dealing with situations that need to be dealt with. And the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, God, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. So what does that mean? As you get closer to God, everything about your life will become cleaner. You'll become, excuse me, I'm sorry. You'll become holy. Not holy, H-O-L-L-Y, or I'm sorry, H-O-L-Y, but holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y. And that means every whit and particle inside your body becomes unified. It becomes on one accord. It begins to follow him with everything inside of you. You know that he's there for you. You trust him and he trusts you. And that's what it looks like. And when that trust is established, it's a beautiful thing. There's not much you can't walk in at that point, because you have this constant communication. You volley ideas off of each other. He comes to you with things, you go to him with things. It is really an amazing experience that I want you to have. I want all of the world to be able to have. It's amazing. So, what are the key takeaways? Peace and safety is the most dangerous thing that anybody can say. When people are talking about peace and safety, you need to run. Be very afraid, because that's when sudden destruction begins to fall upon them. And while everybody's been talking about keeping us safe, sudden destruction keeps falling over the world. We're having tsunamis and earthquakes, and while we haven't had really a whole lot of earthquakes, volcanoes, or tornadoes, I mean, crazy things are happening. All as we're talking about peace and safety. We want to make sure you're safe. Next, takeaway. God is for you. Anytime you think he's your enemy, he's walking together, holding you. He's the cup behind, you're the cup in front. And he's protecting and defending and keeping you safe as you walk through whatever the challenge is that you're facing. He's always for you. That's one of the major takeaways. He is always for you. And finally, don't return evil for evil. It's hard sometimes, you want to. Like, I love Tyler Perry, right? His Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I think Medea says, sometimes God take too long. I need people get got right then. Let me tell you, as funny as that is, that's not the way to go. Because the moment you step out, you do a number of things. Number one, you tarnish his reputation. Think of the number of struggles you've had with Jesus over your lifetime. How many people have you met who genuinely walked the Jesus path and were able to demonstrate it for you? Well, you may be able to say, yes, there are many people in the world who cannot. And that's the thing that I want you to keep in mind. So, thank you for joining us. If you like this video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. And we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. Hit okay. I cannot believe you just rang.